I made a video about a month ago where I showed you 10 things you could do with Siri that you might not have known about, and that video was extremely well received. I'll link to it in the description of this video. But there are still some really useful things that Siri can do that I didn't include in that video. So in this video, I'm going to cover 10 more things. Stick with me to the end of the video. I definitely think there are going to be a couple in here that most people won't be aware of. Okay, let's get into it. We'll start off with a couple of location-based tips, which can be super handy if you're somewhere unfamiliar, and the first is using Siri to find your car. Now for this to work, you have to either have a car that connects to your iPhone using CarPlay, or a stereo that connects to your iPhone using Bluetooth. But honestly, most cars from the last decade or so have a stereo with some form of Bluetooth connectivity, so this tip should be something that most people can make use of. This is because the stereo needs to connect to your phone whilst you're driving so that it knows when you come to the end of your journey and powered off your engine. You don't have to use the phone for music while you're driving or anything like that, you just need the stereo and the phone to be able to make a connection, which they should do automatically once you get in the car when you've paired them. Your phone and the stereo use Bluetooth low energy pairing to establish that once you power off your engine and the Bluetooth connection is therefore lost, that most likely means that your current location is where you've parked your car, and your phone makes a note of this for you automatically, just in case you need it. Then when you've finished for the day and want to get back to your car, just ask Siri, "Where's my car?" and it will locate your car on your Maps app for you. You can then tap the directions button and Siri will guide you right to it. If you've got a newer iPhone, you can get really precise with this, which is helpful if you're parked in a large car park and you need some help pinpointing the exact location. There are a few settings you'll need to ensure are switched on in order for this to work, so let me show you. First, open Settings, then Maps, and ensure that Show Parked Location is toggled on. Then go to Settings, then Privacy, then Location Services, then Maps, and ensure that location access is allowed while using the app, and if you've got it, also ensure that Precise Location is toggled on. Then back a page to Location Services, scroll right the way down to System Services, and ensure that Significant Locations is toggled on. Oh, and you would use essentially the same command to find things like your keys if you use an AirTag. You would just say, "Where are my keys?" and your phone will ping the AirTag and come back to you with a location. Following the location theme, this one is extremely useful if you find yourself in a location that you're unfamiliar with and you need to quickly work out exactly where you are. Just ask Siri, "Where am I?" and Siri will give you a wealth of useful information. It will of course give you your current address or the address closest to you, but it will also give you a map view and your GPS coordinates down at the bottom, helpful if you need to pass this kind of information onto the emergency services. And up at the top, there's a share button, which you can use to send all of this information on to someone else, which again is helpful if you or someone you're trying to help needs this kind of information in an emergency. I genuinely think this tip has the potential to be a lifesaver in certain situations. A comment that I often get on my videos is that people find out these tips but then forget to use them when they're out and about with their phones, and that's why learning to build positive habits is so important. The sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, can help. I've been working through Thomas Frank's course, Real Productivity: How to Build Habits That Last, and I love it. He covers things like actually creating proper goals, using external systems to help make things stick, and how to accurately track, review, and tweak what you're doing, as well as how to get back on track if you fail. There's also a project that you can work through, and I find that with most Skillshare courses, because I find that learning through doing is so much better than learning through viewing. And it goes way beyond building habits. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. It's ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're learning, and there are loads of new premium classes being launched each week. If that sounds good to you, the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description box or my code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. A slightly more light-hearted example now, but I still wanted to include it. If you're ever struggling to make a decision, you can have Siri flip a coin for you. Just say, "Flip a coin."
It's tails.
Or if Magic 8 Ball is more your thing, just say 8 Ball.
Outlook really fuzzy. Hey, when's the last time someone cleaned this thing?
Or if you're trying to play a board game that needs a dice but you've lost the dice, just ask Siri to roll a dice for you by saying, "Roll a dice."
Rolling. It came up 5.
You can use Siri for conversions, and you can do this with a range of different things. Let's say that you're trying to organise a Zoom call, but you've got people joining from all over the world, and you want to work out what the time is right now somewhere else in the world. Just ask Siri. So you might ask, what's the time in Tokyo? And you'll get an answer.
In Tokyo, Japan, it's 22:37.
Or let's say you're cooking, and the recipe that you're working with wants you to use 1 pound of ground beef, but you prefer to operate in grams. You could just say to Siri, convert 1 pound into grams.
It's 453.59 grams.
Or if you're dealing with a piece of furniture that you know is 60 inches long, but you need to know that measurement in centimetres, just say to Siri, convert 60 inches to centimetres.
The answer is 152.4 centimeters.
A few more for you, just to really wrap this bit up. You could say, convert 80 kilometers per hour to miles per hour.
49.71 miles per hour.
Or you could say, convert 300 euros to dollars.
That would be $312 and 50 cents.
Or you could say, how many gallons is 22 litres?
The answer is 4.84 imperial gallons.
Or you could say, what's 30 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit?
It's 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
This tip is potentially quite useful for anyone with an iPhone 13 or any iPhone that doesn't display the battery percentage on the home screen. You probably already know that if you want to view the battery percentage, you can swipe to the control center and it will show here. But if you're not a fan of that, or if you find that difficult to view, you can ask Siri how much battery you have remaining. You would simply say, how much battery do I have left? And it will let you know. Bonus tip here, if you find the control center view difficult to view, swipe left until you get to this screen, then tap Edit. Tap the plus icon in the upper left of the screen and scroll down to Batteries. You can then add a battery widget, which you could either have on this screen here, or you could even add it to your iPhone's home screen if you wish, whatever works best for you. If you're like me and you also have an Apple Watch, perhaps some AirPods, this will also show the battery levels of those devices. One of the best features of the newer iPhone OS, in my opinion, is the ability to hide apps and have them only show in the app gallery. It really helps clear clutter from your screen. One downside to this is that sometimes you're going to want to open an app that you haven't opened in a while, and you might struggle to find it. Now you could of course swipe down on your screen and use Spotlight Search to locate the app. But if you'd prefer, you can use Siri. Just access it and ask it to open the relevant app. For example, open Headphones, and the Headphones app opens. Or open iTunes. Or open Settings. Or open the camera. Oh, and another little bonus tip for you, did you know about this? Open Measure. Your iPhone, provided it's compatible, has a measurement app built into it, which you can use to, as the name suggests, measure things. And if you tap the level button down at the bottom, you can even use your iPhone as a spirit level. You can send links to people using Siri, and you can do so via different messaging apps. So let's say, for example, I'm on the web and I see this page and I want to send it to my friend John Smith. I would just activate Siri and say, send this to John Smith. And you can see that it creates an iOS message complete with the link and a space for me to input some of my own text to send to John. Now, Messages is really popular in the US, but not so much here in the UK. Here, WhatsApp is unfortunately kind of king. So what I could say instead is send this to John Smith via WhatsApp, and the same thing will happen, but using WhatsApp instead. Now this works across loads of different parts of iOS, but in general, if a link can't be sent for whatever you're trying to send, your iPhone will instead attempt to create a full screen screenshot of whatever you're looking at and send that instead, which is still pretty useful. I've included this feature in a bunch of my other videos over the past year, but I'm still going to include it here because it is a Siri feature and it is enormously helpful. You can use Siri while you're going about your day-to-day life at home to help you build a constantly updated shopping list so that when you go to the shops or when you do your online shop, you know exactly what to buy and don't have to create a new list. First up, head to Reminders and create a list and call it Shopping. Then, anytime that you notice that you're running low on something at home, just activate Siri and ask it to add the item to your shopping list. So for example, add milk to my shopping list. and it will add that item straight into your shopping list. An extra bonus tip is that if you live with someone else, you can share the shopping list with them. From reminders, you simply tap the menu item up in the top right and choose share, then choose who you want to share that list with. I've already shared this list, so I don't have that option. I can instead manage the shared options of the list. But once you've done this, you can both add items to the list and you can both access the list when you're out and about, removing items from it as you go around the store. Your control center gives you access to a number of controls, things like enabling or disabling Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or switching on things like focus mode, which is where you can have the phone set up so that you can focus during your working day. There's toggle switches for the various things within Control Center, but you can also toggle most of these things on and off using Siri. For example, if you say turn off Wi-Fi, Siri will turn off your Wi-Fi. If you say turn on Bluetooth, it will turn on your Bluetooth. Siri can turn on your work focus mode, but it's a bit of an odd command to get it to work, in my opinion at least. You would have to say enable work mode, and Siri will enable your work focus mode. Look, I said at the start of this video that I'm including things that Siri can do that are genuinely useful, and for some people this will be genuinely useful. I'm not sure who, but some people. In fact, if you find this final tip useful, please drop me a comment and let me know why. Siri can tell you what things sound like. So for example, you might say, what does an emu sound like?
An emu sounds like this.
Or you might ask, what does a cuckoo sound like?
Here's a cuckoo.
Or what does a hippo sound like?
A hippopotamus sounds like this.
I've also got this to work for things like a car or a helicopter. It works really well with animals, not so much with other things, but if you find any good ones, leave a comment about them. I guess if you've got kids and you want to help educate them about animals, this feature could be really fun, but like I say, if you like this, let me know why. So there you go, 10 more tips to help you get more out of Siri on your iPhone. Any good tips that I've not mentioned in this video or in my previous video? Drop me a comment and let me know, and remember to check that other video out if you haven't already. I'll link to it in the description. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.